Wow. Hi. So, for the last 5 minutes, every time I clicked start broadcast, I got a pop-up window that said, "No." It just said, "Failed to go live. Try again." And for the longest time, nothing worked. I finally tried to restart the Hangout on Air, which opened a Hangout window, which then said, "You're about to join a Hangout with CraftLit." Except I was already in it. So then I clicked, "Okay, let's join," and it said, you're already in this room." And it closed that window and went back to this one, and this time when I clicked, it said, "Okay, here, you're welcome." I have no idea what is happening, but all of their, it's very strange. All of their the YouTube pages that I'm used to seeing are very strange right now, so I don't know if this is gonna suddenly shut off partway through or what, but life's an adventure. It feels very much like the YouTube Soof Nazi was after me. It's been a very weird weekend. My thing too, poor guy is homesick. Yesterday, we had to go to the neurologist, which was exciting, actually. It was really good. And I picked him up at school early. We had to swing by here to pick up paperwork and then head on out to the neurologist's office. And we had a few minutes. So while I was going through the paperwork, he sat down and then he got up and he came back with a space heater and he put it on the table next to him and sat there. And it's cold out today, but it's not, or yesterday, but it wasn't cold in the house. And I said, "Oh, let me feel your forehead." He had he had 101 fever. But we had a weird thing happen with the thermometer. Tell me if this has happened to you. A digital under the tongue thermometer, which has worked historically just fine, um, suddenly started recording nothing over 1/2 of a degree, point 0.5, above normal. And yet when I felt his neck and his head, he was clearly not normal. Um, I had him stick it in his armpit. I didn't know what else to do, and that's where I got the reading from. I've never had a digital thermometer fail. I've never had an under the tongue fail. Oh, no, there was one other step. So then I went and got the regular non-digital thermometer, put that under his tongue, and it registered normal-ish. It actually registered low. And I talked to him like, "Where are you putting it? Is it under your tongue? Is it here? Is it" "Yes, yes, 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 yes." So then we had him put it in the armpit, and that's where I got a reading. This makes no sense to me. I Either I fundamentally don't understand something about your tongue or something else is at play, but you people are smart, so I'm relying on you to solve this mystery. So he's here, he's home, he's miserable, but we're going to go open his bar mitzvah presents very shortly because this last weekend was, in fact, the bar mitzvah. I am never going to have to plan another party in my life, and thank God. I bow down before all mothers who have daughters. Uh, I don't know how you do it. Girl politics in school, and I'm glad I have boys. I'm just gonna say that in front of God and everybody. So, what I wanted to share with you today, however, was I wanted to share a few pictures from the bar mitzvah. Next week, I will have to share pictures with you from the party itself because right now I don't have any. Everybody was taking pictures all over the place, and so we're compiling basically everybody's phone pictures because we didn't. There were some things that I decided not to spend money on. Hello, big truck. I don't know if you could hear that. It was a huge truck. Uh, there were some things I decided not to spend money on, and a couple of those were photographers and videographers. I do, however, have a videotape of the whole thing, and we did it with a shotgun mic, and the sound quality is okay. So I'm going to compile like a greatest hits clip of the bar mitzvah because it occurred to me that um, if you've never been to a bar mitzvah, for one thing, you don't know how long and drawn out they can be. I mean, if you think about, like, if you've ever been to a Catholic high mass where it's in Latin and it goes on and on and on and on. I've been to a few with friends of mine. Bar mitzvahs can be like that because a lot of people are called up to the bima, to it's the stage, really, and in some synagogues, it's a central thing with, like theater in the round, but at one end, you can step down a couple steps and then step up again to this thing that's called the Ark, which is where the Torahs are kept, and I'll show you pictures of the Torah shortly. Um, Tara, what hashtag? I need guidance. Hmm. Um, so I was saying something about the Ark and the bima. Oh, lots of people get called up to the bima, which is the front, to be honored. So you bring up family members, they take part in the service because part of it is that part of becoming a man or a bar bat mitzvah, which means a child, a child of the commandments. You are now officially held to the 613 commandments, give or take, in within the first 5 books of the Bible, the books of Moses. So you actually become bar mitzvah, which is become a child of the son or a daughter of the Torah. Um, so you want to surround the kid or the no longer kid with family and friends and people who stand up for them and kind of vouch for future support, that they'll be there for you and help you as you grow from a young man into a grown man. And I'm looking right now. Oh, there's one of those awful bugs. I will vacuum it up later. Um, so yeah, I guess I'll just start with the pictures so that you can see a wee bit about what the thing looked like. Oh, I see what you mean, Tara. Well, I'm gonna let you you all think of a hashtag because that is something I just stink at. But you already knew that. All right, I am going to share some pictures with you. So this is actually later in the service. This is um, after he had done the reading, and we were almost at the end of the service. Um, we were called up to say a few words to him, and we didn't know that was coming. So um, that's Andrew talking to him for a little while, and then I got my turn to talk to him, and we both collapsed into tears at that point, and then we collapsed everybody else into tears at that point too, which is witnessed there. So everyone had a good cry at that point. But prior to that, the rabbi talked to him for a little bit, and she was taller than him just 6 months ago. Uh, but this all takes place in an old church/school building in New Hope from gazillions of years ago. And yes, this is his rainbow prayer shawl. That's his talit. Um, that is, you can see all the fringy bits on the bottom of it. So those are tied very specifically, and of course there are rules about how these things are made. Like the kosher laws, you're not supposed to combine meat and dairy. It's cooking the kid in its mother's milk is a no-no. Here you have similar things. Um, I think it's you don't combine linen and wool. Um, so there's a whole bunch of rabbinic stuff on how these things are made. But the knots that you see at the bottom are kind of like kind of like a rosary. They can be used kind of like a rosary, but it's also used as a stand-in for your hands at several points. So, for example, when the boy was actually reading from the Torah, which is the big scrolled document that you can see. Can you see my mouse? Yeah, you can. Um, there. That do that. Oh, I can. Um, the big wooden spools have the parchment, which is, I think it's kid. I think it's goat skin that's been stitched together with sinew from said animal so that it's all natural, which is why the Torah is kind of treated like a living thing. Um, when you read from it, you're not allowed to touch it with your hand because obviously the oils from your hand could damage the not just integrity of the document, but actually physically damage the document and make it something that won't last any longer than a few years at a time. These documents, as you see them, last for a really long time because they are treated with great respect. So we were up there. We were the first to watch him. Oh no, we were the last ones to go up and witness him reading. And you can't see it in this picture, but he has a long silver pointer, and the pointer ends in a hand with its finger pointing. It's called a yod, and that's what you use to trace your position on the page because it's very hard to read a Torah. It's all in Hebrew. There are no vowels and no punctuation marks. Makes it a big learning process to be able to stand up and do this. It's a big deal. And in this picture, this woman who's next to him, that was his Torah tutor. So she's up there with him, and this is right before he did his speech. Because back here, you can see the Torah when it is, we call it being dressed. You put it in clothes. It's like I said, it's a living document. Um, and so hanging from this spool, you can barely see this long silver pointer that's hanging in front of the silver breastplate, and that's the yod. The breastplate hangs on a chain over both of those. And if you think back to Indiana Jones, hello, Barbara. Um, if you think back to Indiana Jones, do you remember at the end of the first Indiana Jones movie when Belloc got dressed um, in the robes and the turban for the final big scene? Um, this is part of this is part of why he did it, and it was in the book version of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where Belloc goes to change into the garb, and the Nazi with the hanger, the awful Nazi, and the glasses who looked so foreboding all the time, um, he came up to him and said, "Do you think that's wise to, dress himself basically like he was at the temple in Jerusalem?" He's wearing what's evidently they thought were priestly robes, because the high priests at that time were the only ones who were allowed to go into the holiest of holies, which is allegedly where the Ark of the Covenant was held. So he wanted to do himself upright, and he was wearing a breastplate with 12 jeweled stones, like there's any other kind of jewel. 12 jewels, semi-precious, on the breastplate, which were stand-ins for the 12 tribes of Israel. And it's beautiful. The one that they've got in the movie is beautiful, which is not a surprise. But you saw an example of one here. So it was a big honking deal. The boy did an amazing job. Uh, the rabbi did an amazing job, which is also fantastic, and not always that common. But our rabbi knew that there were people who hadn't been to bar mitzvahs before, and so she explained everything, and she did it in a way that just everybody was so grateful afterwards. They were coming up to her, coming up to us, going, "Wow, thank you so much," because now all the symbols made sense, and all the reasons for the stuff make sense, and the text and Aiden's speech made sense. And, and then we had the party, and this is the part I have to show you. So this was the prototype. That's the prototype of his cake. And then the actual version of the cake was a different one. There. And that is the boy cutting his cake. And you can see we are at a nice rustic, old-fashioned kind of place, and it was just lovely. It's the Lumberville General Store here, just outside of New Hope, and beautiful old um, pre-Revolutionary War. So it goes back. So the good part is, I know the cake was amazing, and it wasn't gluten-free, but everybody who ate it said it was incredibly moist and so good, and made by one of the mom squad here, the moms who I've been hanging out with lately, who I think she just got her own shop. She's like real hardcore, and this was her bar mitzvah present to Aiden. Um, I should put up a link to her. In fact, you know what? In the CraftLit Facebook group, I will put a link to her Facebook page, because you should see some of the, well, hilarious things that she's done, but also really beautiful. So, what did we finally wind up doing for the tables? My mom, and I don't have an example of it here because she took them home. She'd gotten white, handmade white cotton placemats and table runners when she was in Cuba a couple of years back, and they had the cut work around the edges, but it looked kind of geometric. It almost looked like you know, that mission furniture from the previous century, like 20s, the craftsman cottage kind of era. Um, it looked like that style. It was awesome, because the Lumberville Inn has, you know, antique maple tables, like farmhouse tables, and you didn't want to cover that up. Hey there. Yes, the CraftLit are here. Yay. It's so nice to see you guys again. I've been I've been under a rock called bar mitzvah. Um, so we put the table runners down on the long tables, placemats on the non-big tables, and then I had ordered fake jewels, you know, gemstones, because boy likes sparkles. So we sprinkled those around with some appropriately colored confetti. And then on the small tables, my mom got little rainbow mugs with flowers, because this is what the boy wanted. He said he wanted rainbows and unicorns. I didn't know how this was going to play. And then on the big tables, she and my Aunt Susie, the only two people I could trust from the get-go with doing all of this, because for me it would have been a thing too far. Unicorn mug. And you can tell, I mean, this is not an insignificantly sized mug. That's why there was a different one for the hey Robin, for the smaller tables. And boy loves tulips. So there you are. This and the other mug were from Amazon. So that was one thing that got done, that done got didded. And then because of Tara, because Tara's a genius, Tara said, "Hey, have you tried Oriental Trading Company?" So a couple months ago, the boy and I went on their website and searched for unicorns and rainbows. And I found my new favorite friend. A rainbow unicorn rubber ducky, just like a normal rubber ducky. Is that not the best thing ever? And these were not expensive. They came in packs of 8, packs of 8 or 10. Oh no, it must have been 8, because it was a weird number to count. And then I stopped at Target on the way home from the flight from New Orleans, and I found these tags, and they came in pastel colors, and they are vellum-y and see-through-y. And then I was able to get those see-through labels to print. You can see it if I hold it like that, to print everybody's name. So this is how we did people's places at the tables, and they were told that everybody was allowed to take home their ooh, all right, bye. Ooh, yes, good luck on job interviews to husband, has been there, and keep us posted. Let us know next week how things go. So that is how we identified where people were going to sit. And originally, I had just thought we would kind of put these around the centerpieces so people could sit where they wanted to, because it's that kind of environment. My aunt was determined to place people at places, but people still wound up dragging chairs around, and that was what we were hoping for, is that the place setting didn't feel like you were locked in anywhere. So, oh, Robin, good. I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad you're still working. Because you still have insurance that way. These are good things. So, that's that. Then we also had some confetti that includes unicorns in the pack. I think you can see. Maybe not. It's always so hard to know how long it's going to take the camera to focus on these things. So that was the tables. And then the place was genius because it had three rooms. So there's a main room, which is kind of the cafe room, and it has that was off of Amazon, the confetti stuff, I think. Yes, it was. So it's the cafe part. It had like their desserts case and stuff like that was still visible. And, the cash register, espresso maker, all that stuff was visible. And then where you would normally have gotten your milk and your coffee and stuff like that, they took all of that off and turned that into one of the little bar sections. So the soft drinks and wine and beer were there. And then we had another one in the back room. So that's the first room, and that's the biggest one. And then, um, oh, well, hi, Toshi. Had no idea that was you. Okay. Oh. Oh, well, it's nice to see you. Now I'll know who I'm talking to. In the next room back was the library, which has books. So there was a book wall. What I didn't know was that hidden behind one of the big armchairs that was back by one of the book walls was that they had giant Jenga stacks in boxes. I mean, they actually were. It was like a 3-foot tall box of inch by inch Jenga pieces. So kids, I didn't know that was there. But what the place had figured out was that since we had so many kids, they were gonna break that room apart differently and put a checkers table in between two of the big overstuffed chairs, move that against a wall, and make a kids' table. So all the parents of the smallest children sat in there at little 2-tops and 4-tops around, big kids' table, covered that with butcher paper on top of the tablecloth, because that was a folding table, so that got a tablecloth. And then checkers, Jenga in one corner. Because it was cold and snowy, the wood-burning stove was on. In the last room, which is the parlor room, is the huge, it seats 12 more than comfortably, farmhouse table, the maple. It's gorgeous. And one of the bars was one of their it's not a window seat, it's like a window table. So you could sit there and work on your computer and look out the window, or you could put a bar there, or you could make the other one into a gifts table. Now, to me, that looks backwards. I don't know if that's gonna be backwards for you. This little easel doohickey was in that, $1, $2, $3, $5 section at Target when you first walk in the door. $1 packs of things to write with, $1. Wow. So, that identified, obviously, the gifts table, the bars, and then in that big parlor room, there's another wood-burning stove, and in that room, we needed someplace bye, Toshi. We wanted a space for the kids to play that wasn't right by the fireplace, and we had put butcher paper over the little coffee table there and put crayons and make your own unicorn horn hats. so you could be a shiny unicorn, and then you fold that up, and it came with tape and also like little styrofoam tiny stars. So people started walking around putting stars on everybody's forehead. So we were, star instead of star-bellied Sneetches, we were stars four-headed Sneetches. But it worked. So we had things for the kids to do, and we had little gift boxies for kids that had candy and sets of little plastic unicorn guys. Let's see if that works. Oh, that's better. All different colors, rainbow colors, and some of them. Oh, I put mine down. Where did I put it down? Some of them are day glow, or not day glow, glow in the dark. So those are fun. And then, candy and goofy things and like little Jelly Belly packs, things like that. So the kids were well taken care of, but the adults were complaining that they didn't get enough unicorns. You would think that the rubber ducky would have been enough for them. But it wasn't. Although everybody was happy to have stars on their forehead. He could not have picked a better party idea. In fact, even the oldest members of the group, the ones who could potentially have really not been particularly thrilled with how uncharacteristically informal the party was, they were thrilled. They thought it was great. And then in a final attempt to do something to help commemorate the whole thing for the boy, I got a little basket at the store. It's probably an Easter basket for very little. And when I was at a different store, I saw something on sale that made me say, what a good idea. And I'm going through these to find. Oh, these are all from the next day. That's okay. Excellent. I got on sale one of these cameras. They are relatively new. They are old school Polaroids. The film comes up. The button down on the side opens it, turns it on, arms it. Yeah. Can you hear the whine as it charges the battery? It has settings for how you want your lighting to go, and then there's that on the front. As long as you don't cover up the light sensors, it's all pretty good. And then boom. Now the film, and closing it is that easy. The film is not cheap. It's at least $1 a picture. Is that right? Yeah, it's about $1 a picture. And you only get 10 film prints in each one of the packs, but they just started making colored film. So the paper that surrounds the images will be good. And then for like $2, I got a little photo album that I put silver Sharpie writing on and filled with pictures. So I was going to show you what people did. So I had the basket full of Sharpies, little tiny Sharpies. So people were able to take pictures and write little notes. Let's see if I can get this better. So people were taking pictures of each other and laughing and writing cute little things on them and then putting them in the little memory book. So the boy has kind of specialized memories of the day. And that was probably my most inspired moment of planning, was trying to come up with something like that. Oh, and here you can see the edge of the kids' table and the fireplace, and you can see how old the place is. And in that one, let's see. My fingernails are in better focus than this is. And someone had a picture of baby Wesley with his star on his forehead. There is Happy Aiden and pretend cousin Cheryl. So that's what a lot of the book looks like. Goofy pictures and happy people and happy kids, and it worked. I started with 5 rolls of film, and I probably should have doubled that. People like with the Polaroid thing. So I'm looking to see if I've forgotten anything. I think that's all the good stuff. So I'm gonna, over the next couple, it's probably gonna take a little while, I'm gonna edit the video. I will put a link underneath this for how you can go see the greatest hits part. It was, 2.5 hour long thing. I'm not making anybody watch 2.5 hours of anything. Um, but I will upload stuff, and I'll put chapter markers on it so that you can fast wind to seeing the stuff that you are interested in seeing. And I think that's it. Erica has been working, and then she got sick. Dawn is in Florida, relaxing on a beach somewhere warm. We have a bright day, as you can tell, but it is a bright day with snow still on the ground, so it's a little bit chilly outside. And I think that's it. Uh, Next week, oh, yeah, well, we have an episode coming out this week for Count of Monte Cristo. I promise I am getting uh, The Cat Came Back audio up during the week, and then there will be more, and it'll be regular again. Andrew is no longer sick, and I am home at least till the middle of April. And I think that's it. I've missed you guys. It feels like it's been forever, but I am back. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. It just wasn't going to happen. But I'll see you next week. And if Dawn and Erica aren't here and you have things you want to share next week, assume Dawn and Erica aren't going to be here. And if you have things you want to share, contact me either on Facebook or heather@craftlit.com. Send me stuff and you can share. You can come on and be on video if you want or not. It's up to you. You can just send me pictures if you want to share them that way. And have a great week. I'll be talking on Friday, and then we'll be back next Tuesday. And we're changing the time and date, weekday of the weekly constitutional. Mondays are just impossible. All the doctor's appointments seem to fall on Mondays, and it's just been insane, insane, insane. Ooh, Robin, did you put that up in the Facebook group? Oh, my goodness. That's different, though. Oh, in the Craft Literati group. Oh, good. Okay, thank you. Yes, that is that is the right place to put things that you want shown on here. Of course. Did you put it up in the photos section? Hmm. Hmm. weird. Oh, I wasn't looking at it the right way. I don't know what I was thinking. But let me share the picture with all the everybody's. These are very pretty. So, Robin, tell us a little bit about the yarn that you used, because I really like that color combination, and I never ever would have put those two together. I really like those. Oh, and while we're waiting for Robin's texting to catch up with the video feed, I have been working on that vest for Andrew's aunt, and when I told her about it and showed her, she said, "Oh, you keep it." I am bound and determined to finish this stupid thing now, and then I'm just gonna send it to her because it's not my color. Really? Wow. Okay, Robin says this is icky. Acrylic, it's Bernat satin. It does not look like Bernat satin in the pictures. And yeah, I think granny squares are a great way to use stuff. It's kind of like the penny rug idea, right? You've got odds and ends and stuff you wanna get on with and get it out of the way. Granny squares are awesome. And yeah, Robin said she's trying to switch to only cotton or wool. I do recall making that switch myself, and it was a good switch. Which is not to say that I have not found some fantastic acrylic yarns of late. Um, ooh, and this one, I love the colors in this one too. This is from CraftLit, and this is an Easter basket that Tara is working on. And that's very pretty. I love those colors. Oh, and it's that bag. That bag, I've made that bag before, way back, way back, like 2006. I remember doing that because there had been a handbag in Spinoff or Mason-Dixon Knitting. It all was connected. Maybe it was Mason-Dixon Knitting. Um, and then there's that version that came out at the same time. I love that bag. It was one that I felted. Yes, there are a couple of CraftLit groups in addition to CraftLiterati. CraftLiterati is just, the people who show up for this, which means if somebody wants to join, let them. Doesn't matter. The CraftLit Annotated Audiobooks group is a group. It's a closed group. We can all let people in. Again, doesn't matter. But then there is a CraftLit, the podcast for blah, blah, blah. That's not a group. That's like the brand page for CraftLit. That's where my podcast feed posts to. And there are weird and often changing rules about who can post there and where. I think you guys can respond to anything on there, but not everybody can post things there. It's all very confusing. But what a great idea to do crocheted Easter baskets. I like that. And again, acrylic, and they will they will last through the zombie apocalypse. Always good. Always good to know that you've covered all the important bases. Never want to leave anything to chance when the zombies are coming. Oh, good. Oh, thank you for #help as well. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm done for real now. Again, if you want to have me share anything next week, put it up in Craft Literati at Facebook, and I'll remember to pull it from there next week. I have to get back in the swing of things. Alrighty. Have a great week. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.